Hi, my name is Thomas de Boever. I'm based in Belgium, and this video is really about why I'm building an MMORPG from scratch, but also to showcase you a little bit on the game design, but also how far we are currently in development. So why are we doing this? And that's mainly because I'm almost 40 years old, so I grew up with titles like Rose Online, Lineage 2, Warcraft 3, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, all of those fun games. And I feel that today we are really lacking those types of games. And instead of waiting for the next title to come out to hopefully satisfy my needs, I've decided to actually start to explore to see if we can build out an MMORPG from scratch ourselves. So the first thing that we focused on was to come up with a certain game design. So really think about what's really important for us to have within an MMORPG. And based on that, we started to designing worlds and classes and systems along that. And then we started building out a proof of concept. So firstly, and this is what I wanted to share, so we have four pillars. So the first one is organic community building. So that really means that what I feel is that is crucial is there should be a reason for people to team up. So what we see now in the latest MMORPGs, you queue yourself for an instance, you run that instance or you run that dungeon, and that's it. There's no reason for you to engage with those people or to have any leveling outside of those or grinding gear progression outside of those dungeons. So you system is pulling you together, you team up for 5 to 6 minutes and then you drop off. So there's no real community building there. So what I really want to have in this game is a reason for everyone to actually team up with random people. So there should really be a benefit of teaming up with different people who you don't know, and this will help to grow a community there as well. So roles that are really complementary, but also a party system that will level up, so you can actually experience, or at least the party can level up and experience as well. So the longer that you group, the better loot that you might get, the better experience that you might get as well. Thirdly, I think, and this is something which you guys might recognize as well, the ability to just trade between people. So imagine that you're playing a game for 3 months and you invite your friends. The first thing that you want to do is you want to help them, you want to share, you want to give them some noob equipment just to get them started. So this whole direct trading thing is something that I really would like to see in the system. Next to that, an auction house, I think that's terrible as well because the interaction between randoms is also coming from trying to negotiate a price. I think most of you will recognize that we gain some economical skills by just interacting with random people and just negotiating the price, right? There's fun in actually winning the negotiation there as well. So my second pillar is really, it should be relaxing. It should not feel as a second job. I think most of us really do have a full-time job. So that means we don't want to be forced to log into the system and to run through all of those dailies and weeklies and whatever fixed schedules that you might have. I think one of my worst experiences was Throne and Liberty, because in Throne and Liberty, you had world bosses and they spawned every 2 hours. And if you were in a highly competitive guild, you needed to be there and you needed to have the numbers. And so I think that's a whole, that's not something that I want to push in the game. So I want the game to feel relaxing, just grinding, doing some train pulling, doing some mobbing. So I think I always made the comparison. So back in the days, you could even watch television and just be grinding in a group, and you would be progressing. And now, if you look at the games now, if you join a dungeon, you really need to be hyper focused, and you need to do all of this mechanics and so on. So I think, for me at least, a game should feel relaxing. It should feel like an escape. That's what we try to achieve. Then the third pillar, and this is one of the key goals for the game. So I really like mass scale combat. Mass scale PvP is what I mean. But if we tie it to the relaxing and the no fixed schedules, that means that we cannot do any castle sieges or any planned activities. So the idea is to have, for now at least, the idea is to have the PvP really be centered around territory occupancy. So that means, um, each of the planets, and we'll come to the planets later as well, but each of the planets will have a basic farming zone, which is open world, non-PvP, unless you initiate it. And then each of those worlds will have a very hard, dedicated cave, where obviously you would get the best loot, so people will really want to contest to get into that cave. But that cave would then be open PvP. Right, that's the idea. And I know it comes with a lot of crying and zerging and whatever that comes with it. But I'm still going to explore that route because I think mass PvP is one of the most fun things to do. That's what I liked about Lineage 2, that's what I liked about Rose Online, and that's what I'm trying to find in this new, or trying to create in this new game as well. So, like I said, it's an open world, but of course, if you initiate PvP, you should be able to get into the duel. And also, I like the player kill system in Lineage, really. So it comes with a risk, right? If you kill a player, it's up to you, but then you're flagged and people can hunt you. So I love that idea as well. Um, Last pillar, I think this is really, really important for me. So I call it earned pride, not both. So that means I really don't want to see any pay to win, pay to progress in the system as either. But that also means I don't want to have any cosmetic armor purchases. The idea, again, referring to Lineage 2, where you grind it for 2 months to actually have your B armor set, for example, you need to be able to wear that with pride. And I think that's something, the progression and the accomplishment that comes with it. I feel it's a little bit a shame that we now dress up in cosmetics and that people really want to show off something that you just bought, which is only applicable for, or maybe nice to have for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks until the next cosmetic comes along. So no pay to win, in short, no pay to progress. That's really what I want to achieve. Of course, botting and everything that comes along, that will be something to tackle as well. But let's see. That's I think future state problems. Of course, monetization will be something to be considered. Monthly subscription, I really hate it, but let's see how it goes. And if we get something that is enough to support the operational cost of the service and the maintenance, then I'm more than happy. Then we have created something worthwhile. So these are the basic principles. So I hope that makes sense. So really organic community building. So giving the people a reason to interact with each other, giving the people a reason to interact with random people and to have a conversation in a relaxing setting. I think that's the goal. The end state of the game should be, or the end game loop is really to contest these highly territory farm zones, but to really contest that with big groups, clans in the futures, who can have clan wars. That's a bit of the idea. And really, no pay to win, no pay to progress. So just be, yeah, the idea of showcasing, for example, an enchantment plus 16 weapon and it blinks and you can show it off. That's the goal that we are trying to achieve. Now, this whole world design is actually based a bit on my interest. So I'm really I'm really, next to gaming, one of my passions is everything that is related to spirituality, esotericism, occult, and so on. So I'm really taking bits and pieces of let's say, Kabbalah, of, let's say, Fourth Way, of, let's say, Hermetism, alchemy, occultism, telema, magic, yoga systems, Buddhism. I'm combining all of those to actually build, or to actually have that built into the system as a kind of progression tool. So, and this also aligns, or this allows me to really build out worlds that are shaped according to these systems. So this is not fixed in stone, obviously, and I will not ship this in the first release, obviously. But if you look at this based on the Kabbalah Tree of Life, you can have, for example, the first zone, which is the Earth related, then the second one, which is Moon related, the third one, which is Mercury related, and so we can continue with Venus, the Veil, obviously, with Sun and Gold, and so on until we reach Saturn, which is then the latest planet there. And as you can see, so I mentioned this before, the idea is to have different farming zones, but on each of those, let's call it planets, spheres, on each of those we would have a private or a highly contested open PvP area where we would find the really high-end loot. Now, thirdly, a little bit on the class design system, and what you're seeing on the screen, this is not final either. But I have 8 classes with 10 skills already mapped out. And basically what we want to achieve is a little bit of the League of Legends play, but within an MMORPG setting. So for example, if you look at these classes, obviously we have the Trinity, so we have the tank, we have the DPS characters there as well, and we have support. So if you look at the tank, for example, mainly, obviously, the taunter, the puller, bringing it all together, slamming with the shield, stunning people, and so on. The mage, obviously, the magic DPS. We have the Sagitta, which is a longbow DPS. We have an close ranged fist DPS. We have an assassin DPS. Then we have two support roles. So one is on the healer side, so mainly focusing on healing, HP, shields, reviving, immunity for the group, etc. And then we also have one buffer, debuffer. So having this role in the group will boost the P attack, will boost the M attack, but also will be able to root the enemies, to slow them down, to give the bosses some debuffs and so on. And then lastly, I think that this is one of my favorites. This is the Azotian class, which is really the economical advantage class. And this is, if you look at lineage 2, you can think about the spoiler, the crafter. So I really like I used to play spoiler as well. So for people who did not actually play this, having one of these within your party increase the chance of getting better loot. That's it. So we will have this in the class as well. It will be like a mortar shooter DPS ranged, but having this character in the group will make sure that you get better loot. So you will always want to bring this one along. So that's a bit of the idea. So the Trinity, then we have the DPS classes, and we have the economical advantage class. Now, fourthly, what we wanted to achieve is we wanted to have synergy between those classes. So the idea came from playing IAM 2 now for the last year. And there I really like the blade and soul concept of really having to chain the skill, or the ability to chain skills. So once you do a skill, you can chain another skill and you can create combos. So the whole idea of this game is to have cross-class proc system. So that means if my tank or if my mage is, for example, he is doing a burning, a burning skill, the tank that is standing near can actually, instead of doing just an iron slam, which is a ground slam, he can actually slam the same skill, but it would change in characteristics and results. So instead of just slamming the ground, it will slam the ground, but it will also spread the burn throughout all of the enemies. And that's a bit of the idea. We've been working on this, so we have a cross-class proc system. So you can see there are six statuses that can be applied by certain classes and that can unlock a proc on different classes. So just like I explained before, so for example, if the mage applies a burning skill, the tank can therefore change his simple ground slam and an AoE fire strike that will apply burning to all of the other classes as well. So that's a bit of the idea. So here as well, for example, right? So the Azotian, he can do a meltdown, which is actually he spreads some smoke or some acid on the group, and as soon as those enemies are corroded, you can see the magus can do some arcane overload, or they can go into a critical mark or iron's resolve, and so on. Obviously, this is all not fixed in stone. We still need to prove and test all of this, so this is a bit the idea of the first proof of concept. And I see I'm still recording, which is fine. So I'm doing this all without script and just on the fly. So let's see where we can get. In terms of the proof of concept, so just to give you an idea, we started with this whole idea in April. I think the 1st of April, to be exact. That's when we started to investigate, okay, what do we need? What are the tools that we need to create a game and so on. And back then I was on professionally, I was heavily using AI. So AI is really for me the catalyst or the enabler for me to be able to do this on my own. But really, we started by just started with the game design. Based on that game design, we actually started by doing a proof of concept in Unity. The issue was really Unity, or why we switched from Unity to Unreal Engine is really if you want to create an MMORPG where you would have multiple players playing concurrently and where you need to replicate all of the data, all of the skills, all of the animations from the server to the client. I think if you would do it in Unity, that would mean that you would actually need to build out the whole gas framework, which is an Unreal Engine. So that's why we switched to Unreal Engine at some point. Let me just showcase where we are today. So what you're seeing is Unreal Engine, so I can kick off the player tests. And just to walk you through this, so for this first POC, I did not build any progression yet in the system. So it's really, let me see if I can make that bigger. No. So there's no progression yet, meaning there's no class progression yet. So what I decided is just everyone, if you go into the playtest, you can actually enter your name. So for me, that would be something like this. And today I have implemented 4 classes with very basic skills. So the first one to showcase is the mage, for example. So if you can see everything that you're looking at besides the level itself is an asset pre-shipped by Unreal Engine. So this is the typical mannequin, so you can just reuse this. And this is a Paragon Grux, so if you can go to the asset library, you can actually just easily, you can install these and you can reuse them in the platform. So as you can see, I have one mage now. What I can do with the other one, I can actually enter the tank there as well. As you can see, so the idea, again, we tied it into this mass scale PvP, that's the end state goal. And if we think backwards from it, so the only thing that I've seen working for mass scale PvP is League of Legends play style, so click to move, or Lineage 2 style, so really click to move as well. And that means, so I try to adopt the Lineage 2 style now, so it's camera to move, click to move, and then basically we can select an enemy. But before I want to showcase that, what I want to show is we build out the player HUD already. We have the enemy HUD here. We can do some basic chats here. Hi chats. All of this is very basic yet. But I also build out the player information already. So basically the idea, and this is not finalized again, the idea is to have different archetypes. So these different classes will come with different, what I call core stats. And based on those core stats, you will have derived stats. So basically, typically what we would have was in the back, in Lineage 2 or Ragnarok or anything else, you would find strength and intelligence, and that one would impact your derived stats. I try to simplify it a little bit by just calling it, this is the attack stat, this is the defense stat, vitality stat, speed, and so on. So basically, this is already working in the system. So if I would add stats to my attack, you would see that my P attack and M attack are changing, and that would also impact my behavior. So what I have here is attack, which is obviously doing the P attack and M attack based on your class. We would have a defense stat, so defense on your armor stat, but also your magical stat. The typical vitality stat, so increasing your HP, but also your regen. The speed one is actually increasing the attack speed, but also cast speed and movement speed. Then we have the critical here as well, which will increase your crit rate, so percentage based, always random, and the amount of crit damage that you apply. Then we have the endurance stat, which is basically the same for HP, but then for the mana. So we have, I call it inner fire, which is again tied into the spiritual systems. But you see here the max inner fire here, the regen there as well. And then we also have the luck stats. So I really like to have an economical advantages class. So really the Azotian would then max out the drop rate chance and a chant bonus chance, and there will also be crafting. But again, on crafting, what I don't like on crafting is that you might fail. So I think if you spend the time and you collected all the materials, you would need, or you would get an 100% chance. But that being said, I really like the gems within Rose Online. So for those who have played it, it does come with a percentage success rate. And really the feeling that you have if you create an end gear gem with only 6% of success rate is phenomenal. I think that creates memories. I think I would like to have that in the game as well. So what's next? What are you seeing? So I created, this was my mage. So I will put some points into attack. And as you can see, what I created just 3 skills, and I know the UI is looking terrible and we will change all of that. But I just wanted to test the system. So if I now go and just auto attack this mob, you will see it starts attacking back. And we have all of the notifications here on the bottom. So you can see I did 76 damage. He is applying damage to me, and I gained 10 experience out of this just one single mob. And you can see here on the top, the XP is building. So just to showcase, so if I now remove my points in attack and I would apply my points in defense, and I do the same, you see the numbers changing. I only do 48 damage now, and the Grox will do 22 damage instead of 27. So that's a bit of the idea. Now if I switch to my tank, you would see the core stats are different, right? So each archetype starts with a different base set. So you would see he's already starting with a P defense of 60, and if I compare that to the P defense of my mage, she would start with 45. So that's a bit of an idea. So next to that auto attack, and yeah, there's a lot of code that goes in this. So for example, if you would move, it needs to chase. If you cancel it before the animation ends, what does that mean? And obviously I was not aware of my HP, so I died. So I can just start back here. All of that, so again, so I click on it, I press the auto attack button, and then it will go into range and so on. So that's a bit of the idea. Now for skills and all of this, this is not looking so good right now. So I try to rig the animation, but as you can see, if I now do my first skill, so this is the basic, obviously, the burning fireball projectile, you would see that it does apply a status, right? So if you look here and on top of the mob, it applies burning. And this is what will trigger the cross-class skills. So if I now see my HP is very low, but if I move into this area, just to stand next to it, and if I apply the burning to them, oh sorry, that went wrong. So just to showcase, so this is now the tank. So the tank obviously can do auto attacks as well, but he has an Iron Fist attack as well. So this is a more heavier attack, as you can see, it's causing 43 damage. So this is now Iron Fist, but what I want to showcase, if I select this one, if I go to this one, and if I now apply my burning skill, you would see the skill has changed. See? It now does, and as you can see here, instead of 43, it does 67, and it will apply this in an EUE circle. I know it's not there visually, but at least the core of the system is there. So this is basically where we are. So we did a play test yesterday evening. And within that play test, we leveled up. So I see I'm level 1, so just to showcase, we were only 3 people, so we had the DPS Trinity, we had the tank, we had the support, and we had the DPS there. So basically we grinded in this group of mobs until level 5, and after level 5 we went into this more aggressive area to actually try. I'm really not doing a good job here. But after that, we really try to run some trains and to see how that works in a group and if it's fun to do. So I just want to showcase the level up. So just one more. There we go. We received 10 experience. It congratulated us with a level 2. And we have received 5 stat points. So the idea is indeed, once you level, you can actually allocate these stat points and whatever stat that you want to have. So for a mage, typically that would be an endurance because you want to have your mana to be regenerated, or you're in a fire and you wanted to apply it into attack to do more damage. I also already included the party system. So if I do invite tank, you would see there, I still need to work on the party HUD, of course, but you would see you have been added to a party with 2 players. And based on that, of course, your XP will be less. So if I kill now this one, you can see my damage has greatly increased already. But if I kill this one, I will only receive 60% because we are sharing this. But the idea is if you can go to player stats or party info, you will see that the party itself will also have XP. So if the party is progressing, you will receive, as a group, you will receive more experience, more loot as well. So the idea is to really tying back into, you need to have a reason to group up with people. That's a little bit of the idea there. And I will switch to the tank to actually showcase a little bit of that different group. So if you go to this other group here, so you can see these are all level 5s. They have more HP, they have more defense, they have more attack. But the idea that we done in the playtest of yesterday, so we run a train, then we would have the mage coming in and apply some burning. Then we would have the tank doing the burning fist, so applying more burning to the whole of the group. And then basically that's it, right? So we have the support, the healer. Oh, it's a little bit bugged. So we had the healer actually coming in and healing the tank. So for the next playtest, what I want to do is I want to implement the party huts. I want to make it more. I want to add some more skills, like for the tank to be able to aggro all of the all of the mobs, right? So now it's a little bit tricky. So once the mage is applying more damage, the whole group is going towards the mage. I don't really like that. So that's one. The targeting system as well. Now you do not visually see which mob you're targeting, so I want to do something with that as well. And then the last thing I would like to show is for the playtest, what we also included here was indeed we added the king. So the idea was, so again, if we well, something I liked really about Rose Online as well was that in certain places kings will spawn at random timings, and those will drop like full items, or at least will have a small percentage drop those full items. So that's also a bit of the fun. If you group up and if you're able to kill one of these, that's also nice. Just for the sake of the video, what I will do as well, I will give myself some stat points. I will apply these to my attack. 360, maybe I'll add some speed there as well. And he's attacking, I'm in range, and some crits. I will not make it. Let's see if you can kill him. I think you can. But the idea was for the playtest to have a small group of 3 people and to see if he can actually level up, go through the progression, and to see. I died again, but that doesn't matter. And to see if it's fun to play. So I got some useful feedback, so I will take that into account and let's see where it takes us. So if you're still around for this video, thanks for watching. If you do have some feedback, please put them in the comments. If you do like the idea, please put that in the comments as well. That will motivate us to get to progress further. So thank you for watching, and this is my first video. So I hope you liked it. Thank you.